I remember one time I was going to a different city to play a show north of where I'm from. And I got an email from a contact from that city saying, oh, by the way, sorry, I can't make your show. I can't come and see you for your show. And at that time, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, okay. But I did think it was strange at that time. And it's funny because that contact wasn't even in my mind. I wasn't thinking about him. If I had gone there and he wasn't at that show, it wouldn't even have occurred to me that he was from there. Now, going through what I've now gone through after that communication, I now know that's someone who suffers from this kind of pathology, because everything is about asserting control and dominance. So that guy was like, in a way, devaluing me or telling me he couldn't make my show to make it look like he's in control of the situation. Like, I can't come to see you, so if I'm not there, it's because I'm busy. I'm more important. I'm more of the perceived value figurehead. So that's one of the good things that's come of this. It's kind of now, you can now go back over like communications you've had with people or situations you've had with people, and you now think, oh, that's what that was. Oh, that person was trying to assert dominance or control over me. Oh, when that man said, can you send me your contact's details so I can send him my invoice? That's someone who was using you as a stepping stone to get what they wanted. Again, that person will now cut you out and go direct to the source. And now that you've given him that person's email, he can now get other jobs via that contact, whereas you were not the only person that had used that contact. But he asked you because he knew that you was maybe naive or you were unknowing. But other people had used that contact but didn't give that email, but you gave that email. So you were some kind of sacrificial lamb. But you can now think back and think, oh, that's what happened, and I was used. So that's what happens a lot of the time with these people. They use you, abuse you, and then they get rid of you and switch you in for somebody else who's like unknowing. And also, when you are discarded, it's an illusion. So somebody else will be in that position because it's a kind of, they think that everybody's like them. So they continue to manipulate each other. And also, they also feed each other's egos as well. It's fine for you to do what you're doing. I will do it as well. I remember some situations also where two of people from that old friend group met up to discuss me. Now, if you were to have, like, say, Black Mirror, the TV show on Netflix, and you were to take a chip out of my brain, out of their brains, and the chip, you wrote it down onto paper of every single right or wrong, every single scenario, every single thing that you've done in life. You might have one skinny few pages of doing wrong or a chapter. They've got whole volumes volumes of skeletons, volumes of them cheating, stealing, lying, backstabbing, manipulating, abusing people. You got a sliver, you got like a chapter where it wasn't your best light, a chapter. They've met up to discuss you, that chapter. Whereas in their own chip that was now wrote onto paper, they got volumes, lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating, backstabbing, talking behind people, silent treatments to people, breadcrumbing people, triangulation against people, isolating people, gossiping about people, envious, backbiting. That's who these people are. They all do the same pattern. They all behave in the same kind of way. And the fact that we can say we recognize this as a mental illness is a kind of way it's like we can use a scientific style or term or description to describe them. But what we are going through now, or what this is a spiritual attack. It's spiritual. And the good thing that had came out of, I think it was, I had like four, I probably had 3 proper relationships with these people, but I've been in maybe 5, maybe 6 dynamics, and also with family members, also extended family and close family, so-called family, or let's say relatives, because your actual soul family are not always the people that you come through the same lineage or portal with. You can meet someone from a different country, different race, different religion, different culture, who relate to you innately from the soul. It's spiritual because what they are attacking in us is something that they don't know that they're doing. 1, 2, they all behave the same. And 3, an entity is actually working through them. And what was good that came out of all of this? Yes, the knowledge. Now I've got the knowledge, so I can spot it. But 2, it brought me back to my original faith. Now, in this dimension in life, okay, there are sides. There's darkness and there's light. There's good and there's bad, or you can say evil, or whatever, however you want to describe them. But one thing that I know is that what happened to me, the reactive abuse, the getting the police involved, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the lies, the rumor mill, all of these things, the lack of empathy shown towards myself, the gang stalking, ganging up against you, triangulation, is nothing short of demonic. And because they are on that demonic side, they must be the opposite. The good side, the empathetic side, the caring side, the loving side. And even if you don't think you're doing it, you are. You actually care about people. You sometimes, just people passing by, you might hold the door, or there's an old lady with a bag, you go and pick up her bag for her. A blind person's crossing the road, you might shepherd them across the road. You might get up from your chair to let a pregnant person sit down on the public transport, on the bus, or on the tube or train, or wherever you're from. You represent what is good. And after everything happened, I started reading back the scriptures, looking up stories, and most of things like this are in the Bible, and they'll be in any holy scripture will talk about our adversary, but we have already won. We are sitting higher than him. He wants us to be alcoholics, using illicit substances, consumed by our lustful ways, consumed by the flesh. We got to feed our spirit. We got to work against those strongholds, those wounds, those things, those issues we had, those childhood traumas in our childhood. We have to heal. We have to face those things, and we have to sit in it. There's a guy, his name is Aaron Doherty. You can search him on YouTube. But he says, if you can feel it, you can heal it. And that's very true in a lot of this stuff. So when you start understanding those areas of yourself that you can improve and dealing with those things and not running from them, you can start healing them. You start getting better. So what you went through, what I went through, yes, it has taken up our resources, it has taken up our time, our reputations, everything, money, whatever, all these tangible, worldly things. But it hasn't destroyed us in the spiritual realm. That light is still very much alive in every single one of us. And even if it's a small speckle of light, we have to just keep going and working towards making it full, because we can self-reflect. We can take accountability. We can say, what did I do wrong? All of those scenarios, I take the blame, because I was the person who stayed. I was sometimes the person who chose them. And by framing it that way, I can now say, okay, how can I stop this from happening? How can I do better? How can I be better than the version of me yesterday, today? What can I do today to make me better than yesterday? Even if it's something small. In the gym, gains in the gym, tidying up, going to places that you haven't been before, reading at one page and reading more, cooking for yourself a nice meal, taking a bath, taking a class, teaching a class, doing hobbies that we used to enjoy before we got into these dynamics. We have to use this terrible, dire situation or situations and propel ourselves to a better version of ourselves. It's the only way. And we have to not defend the smear campaign rumor mills. We don't have to defend ourselves to nobody. This was a very, very hard lesson for myself to get. But in time, we will be vindicated. You can look back at my life and you can see before those 3 or 4 relationships, I was in healthy relationships. I had careers. I had education. There was things that were built up by myself, which shows a level of character, a level of structure, a level of discipline. If you go and look at these individual people's lives, when they met me, before they met me, chaos. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if you now look at my life, I would have gone back to that person that I was before, working on something, improving, building a career. Compare it with them. Chaos, destruction, monkey branching from relationship to relationship. In time, everything will be revealed.